Hello students, welcome to AriserTalent. So as you know, we are studying the important chapter. This is the first chapter of your syllabus, that is fundamental unit of life. In our previous lecture, we have studied about the structure of cell. We have studied why it is known as the structural and functional unit of life. Beside it, we have studied the types of cell on the basis of number. So according to number of cells, cells were of two types, unicellular and multicellular, means organisms were of two types, unicellular and multicellular. Beside it, we have also studied prokaryotic animals and eukaryotic animals. In that, I told you what are the differences between prokaryotic animals and eukaryotic animals. So examples of prokaryotic animals are bacteria, amoeba, paramecium, etc. And in that, I told you about the eukaryotic cells. I told you the examples of eukaryotic cells are plants and animals. So today we are going to discuss about the eukaryotic cells that are plants and animals. So here we go. Here we have the structure of eukaryotic cell, that is animal cell and plant cell. Okay, if we talk about the structure, we will go with the structure. Then we can find then in the animal cell the outer covering is single layered, that is known as plasma membrane, but in the plant cell the outer covering is also covered by one more membrane, that is known as cell wall. So first difference is there that in the animal cell, cell wall is absent but cell wall is present in the plant cell. Okay, so thus we can say in the animals the outer covering is made up of plasma membrane. They do not have cell wall, but in the plant cell plasma membrane is covered by thick rigid wall, that is known as cell wall. Okay, so this is the first difference. Okay, now let's go inside the cell. So here we can see the large central vacuole. Is it present here? Yes, vacuoles are present but not the large central vacuole. So thus we can say in the animal cell many small vacuoles are present, but in the plant cell large central vacuole is present. This was the second difference. Now we will go for the third difference, that is the nucleus. Okay, so what about the nucleus? In the animal cell, nucleus is present in the center, but in the animal cell, as the large central vacuole is present, then nucleus is shifted to one side. Okay, so thus we can say that in the animal cell the nucleus is centric, but in the plant cell it is eccentric. Okay, now rest, if you talk about the rest points, then here we can see green structures are present. Okay, green structure are known as chloroplast. What is chloroplast? Chloroplast is a type of plastid. Here in the animal cell, green color plastids are absent. Okay, so we can say the difference between the animal cell and plant cell is that plastids are present in the plant cell but they are absent in the animal cell. Okay, they are absent in the animal cell. Why it is so? Because we all know that plant cells synthesize their own food, okay, by the process of photosynthesis. So who is responsible there? This chloroplast is responsible in the plant cell for the process of photosynthesis, but as we all know these plastids are absent in the animal cell. This is the reason animal cannot synthesize their own food. Okay, so it's clear. This was the next difference, that plastids are present only in the plant cell, they are absent in the animal cell. Rest, reserve food. If we talk about the reserve food, that in the animal cell reserve food is glycogen and fat, but in the plant cell the reserve food is starch and fat. Okay, so let's go with the differences. Animal cell and plant cell. What was the first difference? The first difference was based on cell wall. So here we can mention cell wall is absent in animal cell, but in the plant cell, cell wall is present. What kind of cell wall it is? It is thick and rigid cell wall. Okay, and here in both the cell, animal cell and plant cell, plasma membrane is present in both the cell, but the difference is that only that in the plant cell, plasma membrane is covered with the thick rigid membrane that is known as cell wall. So, this is the difference between animal cell and plant cell, that cell wall is absent in the animal cell, only plasma membrane is present, and in the plant cell, cell wall is present. So, here we can mention outer covering of animal cell is plasma membrane, and here in the plant cell, plasma membrane is covered by a membrane that is cell wall. This is thick and rigid. In plant cell, plasma membrane is covered by thick rigid cell wall. Okay, this is the difference. Next difference is of vacuole. So, in the animal cell, vacuoles are, many small vacuoles are present, and in the plant cell, large central vacuole is present. Okay, many small vacuoles are present. Okay, but in the plant cell, large central vacuole is present. Okay. Nucleus. In animal cell is centric, nucleus is centric in animal cell, and here in the plant cell, nucleus is shifted to one side of the cell due to the presence of central vacuole. Okay, so what is the difference? That in animal cell, nucleus is in center, but as we all know, large central vacuole is present in the plant cell. This is the reason nucleus is shifted to one side of the cell. Okay. Next, as we all know, plastids. Plastids are absent in animal cell, but plastids are present in the plant cell, and this is the reason they can perform the process of photosynthesis and they can synthesize their own food. Plastids are present in plant cell. One more difference we can see here, that centrioles, here we can see that centrioles are present in the animal cell, but in the plant cell, centrioles are absent. Clear? Next difference is here we can mention, in the animal cell, centriole are present, but in the plant cell, centriole are absent. Okay. Reserve food material, reserve food material in animal cell is glycogen and fats. glycogen and fats. Okay, and in the plant cell, reserve food material is starch or fat. Okay, one more important difference is that animal cell is smaller in size but plant cell is larger in size than the animal cell. Okay, on the basis of size we can say animal cell is small in size but plant cell large in size than the animal cell. Okay. So, these are the important differences between animal cell and plant cell which you can learn from the structure itself. Clear? So, hope all the differences between the animal cell and plant cell is clear to you. Now, we will talk about the structure of eukaryotic cell. These are eukaryotic cells in which we have already discussed the differences between the animal cell and plant cell. Now, we will talk about the structure of eukaryotic cell. Next our topic is structure of eukaryotic cell. Okay. So, first of all we will talk about the what are the components of eukaryotic cell. So, we can mention an eukaryotic cell have three main components. Three main components. What are they? Number one is plasma membrane. Then nucleus. And third one is cytoplasm. Okay, so these are the three very important components which are present in all the eukaryotic cell. Here we have studied the difference between the plant cell and animal cell. Those are the eukaryotic cell in which we have found all these components positively. So, thus we can say these are the three important components which are present in all the eukaryotic cells. Rest other differences can be there. Okay, but these three components are essential which are present in all the eukaryotic cells. First of all, we will talk about plasma membrane. Plasma membrane. Now, what is plasma membrane? This is the first topic which we will discuss of these components. Plasma membrane. What is plasma membrane? It is the outer covering of the cell. It is outer covering of the cell. Here we have already studied the structure of plant cell and animal cell, in which we have seen that outer covering means cytoplasm and nucleus are enclosed by this plasma membrane. Okay, so outer covering, as in our human beings, this outer covering is skin, same as in the cell. The outer covering of the cell is known as plasma membrane. It's also known as cell membrane. It is also known as cell membrane. Clear? Cell membrane or plasma membrane is made up of lipids and protein. plasma membrane, and as well as we can call it cell membrane, is made of lipids and proteins. Okay, and as we have discussed the plant cells and animal cells, so what is the difference? In plant cell, plasma membrane is present between the cell wall and cytoplasm, but in the animal cell, all the cytoplasm and nucleus are enclosed by plasma membrane. Okay, so we can say it encloses cytoplasm and nucleus. Okay, next point is in plant cell, the plasma membrane is present between the cell wall and cytoplasm, whereas in animals, plasma membrane encloses the cytoplasm and nucleus. Which you have already studied when I told you the differences between plant cell and animal cell. So, hope these are clear to you. What is plasma membrane? Plasma membrane is the outer covering. What is plasma membrane? This is the outer covering of the cell. It's also known as cell membrane. Another name of the plasma membrane is cell membrane. So, we can call it plasma membrane or cell membrane. Plasma membrane or cell membrane is made up of lipids and proteins. These are important points, that plasma membrane is made up of lipids and protein. It encloses cytoplasm and nucleus. Okay, and in plant cell, the plasma membrane is enclosed by cell wall, and we can say that plasma membrane is present between the cell wall and cytoplasm. Okay, but in the animal cell, this plasma membrane encloses cytoplasm and nucleus. Clear? So, this was all about the plasma membrane. Now, we will talk about the structure of plasma membrane. Next topic is structure of plasma membrane. If we talk about the structure of plasma membrane, then most acceptable structure was given by the Singer and Nicholson in 1972. Okay, what they said, they gave a model that is known as fluid mosaic model. It was given by Singer and Nicholson, fluid mosaic model. Now, what is this fluid mosaic model? It was given by Singer and Nicholson. In 1972. According to this model, or according to Singer and Nicholson, they said that a plasma membrane is made up of lipid bilayer and two types of protein. Okay, lipid bilayer means lipids form the two layers of lipids, and they form a viscous fluid, and two types of proteins are arranged in the lipid bilayer. What are the two types of proteins? Intrinsic protein and extrinsic protein. Okay. So, here we go with the fluid mosaic model. According to this model, plasma membrane is made of lipid bilayer and two types of proteins. Okay, lipids form two layers and are called, and these layers are called lipid bilayer and two types of protein, intrinsic protein and extrinsic protein are arranged in lipid bilayer. Okay, so what is fluid mosaic model? According to this model, first of all, it was given by Singer and Nicholson. According to this model, plasma membrane is made up of lipid bilayer and two types of proteins, and lipid form two layers and these layers are called lipid bilayer. Two types of protein like intrinsic protein and extrinsic protein are arranged in the lipid bilayer. Okay, so here we go with the structure. Structure of plasma membrane it is. Okay, lipid bilayer. This is lipid bilayer and protein. This is intrinsic protein. It's embedded in lipid bilayer okay. This is lipid bilayer. Okay, so this is the structure of plasma membrane in which this is lipid bilayer. Okay, it's intrinsic protein and this one is extrinsic protein. Okay, so here proteins are embedded or arranged in such a manner that they are forming a mosaic form. Okay, this form is known as mosaic form. This is the reason we have given, scientists have given the name to this structure, fluid mosaic model, because lipid bilayer forms the fluid form, viscose fluid like structure, and then proteins are embedded or arranged in the mosaic manner. This is the reason this model is known as fluid mosaic model. Here you can mention that in this model, lipids form viscous fluid and proteins are arranged in mosaic form or mosaic manner. This is the reason this model is known as fluid mosaic model. Clear? So, hope it is clear to you with the structure also, and this is the structure of what? Plasma membrane. Clear? So, this is all about the fluid mosaic model. This is the most acceptable model about the plasma membrane. So, now in this lecture we have studied about the difference between animal cell and plant cell and the structure of eukaryotic cell, that it contains plasma membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm, and then we have studied the structure of plasma membrane. In our next lecture, we will talk about the transport methods of the plasma membrane. Thank you.